So here it is, guys, today's awesome message. Believe it or not, we're coming up towards the crazy season already. So here's a special message to get you prepared for that. Enjoy.
Well, hey there, Elevate friends and family. Great to have you with us today. And as you have probably already noticed, we are well and truly into December now, which, among other things, means that Christmas music is totally legal right now. So, I don't know how many of you are like December only Christmas music people. Maybe some of you are like, no, I'm Christmas music all year round people. Both exist. And look, special shout out to those of you in retail during December because, I duck into my local grocery store, local hardware store. I'm in and out in 20 minutes and they've got Christmas music playing on a loop, but 8 hours of it a day for a month, not for me. Look, speaking of Christmas music, what's the first song that springs to mind when you think about Christmas music? For some of you, maybe it's the Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas Is You. Yep, fair enough. And a lot of memes around this song. Kind of kicks into gear December-ish with this. Mariah's thawing out, and as soon as she's finished thawing out, run. But December, some people get a bit of anxiety in the month of December, leading up to Christmas. There's the to-do list, there's the shopping, there's the squeezing a bit more juice out of the budget so you can afford the shopping and the presents, and then maybe there's some travel plans, people going our way, people coming in, organizing get-togethers, inviting people or responding to things you've been invited to, all of the stuff. And look, it can feel like a lot of pressure. And then there's maybe some personal stuff overlaid on this. For some of you, sadly, there's going to be people who were sitting around the table last year that are not going to be sitting around the table this year with you celebrating Christmas. And, that can carry extra weight. And so I just wonder if you ever find yourself through December and the lead up to Christmas, ever just asking the question, is there something more than this? Or is this just it? Is it just about the stress and the pressure and the anxiety? So this is really the question we're asking today. Is there something more around Christmas? More than this, more than the lists, more than the commercialism, more than the busyness, more than the financial pressure. And look, I want to put it to us today that yes, actually we're made for more. Christmas can point us to more, and ultimately God wants us to experience more than just the noise and the pressure. Now, speaking of Christmas songs, any guesses as to which was the first Christmas song ever written? Any guesses? Well, let me show you. If you've got your smartphone camera, how about you scan this flow code? It's going to take you to Luke chapter 1. Now, Luke's one of the 4 biographers of Jesus that we still have access to. And this is chapter 1. So this is kind of right at the beginning. And what we discover is that Mary, the mother of Jesus, actually crafted a song. It's really, in effect, the first ever Christmas song. And it's just simply referred to as Mary's song. And look, it doesn't get talked about much. Unlikely you'll hear it walking through your local shopping center, but Mary's song is actually a roadmap to how we can get more out of this Christmas season. So we're just going to journey along that roadmap today. Now, here's the context. Mary had just been visited by an angel, told by the angel that she was going to give birth to a child. The child was going to be the Son of God. So it's a lot, and She went to visit her cousin in Judea named Elizabeth. And when Mary arrived, Elizabeth knew that Mary was pregnant, and actually knew that Mary was pregnant with the Son of God, which all sounds like great. But the problem is that the stakes were actually pretty high for Mary. I mean, she was a teenage girl. She was engaged to be married to a man named Joseph, but she claimed that she'd never had sex with anybody, a man, Joseph, no anybody. So she's still a virgin. So, she's telling that to Joseph. She's going to have to tell that to the people in her family, the people in her village, who are going to kind of say, no, we know how biology works. People don't get pregnant whilst they're still a virgin. So there was a lot going on for Mary. And here's what she chose to focus on. When Elizabeth said, to Mary how great it was that she was pregnant with God's Son, Mary responded, "Oh, how my soul praises the Lord, how my spirit rejoices in God, my Savior." So here we've got Mary, literally at the front end of what was going to be a lot of uncertainty and a lot of chaos. And she made the choice to lift her eyes above the noise and rejoice. And so really, this is the jump-off point, kind of the big idea of today's message, that if you want to get more out of the next couple of weeks, more out of this Christmas season, then lift your eyes above the noise. Which I know is easier said than done, because look, have you ever noticed it's actually easier to complain than to praise? Which is actually backed by science. There's research to indicate that negative experiences and everything we associate with them are stickier than positive experiences. In fact, some of the research bears out that if we were to lose a $100 note, and then sometime in our future we were to find a $100 note, that we would actually remember the negative emotions associated with the loss more than we would remember the positive emotions associated with finding the new $100 bill. But here's something to consider. While complaining may be natural, rejoicing is supernatural. And to put my Captain Obvious hat on, better. So just this kind of shift in perspective, a small adjustment, it literally over the next couple of weeks will make a massive difference. And I can almost guarantee, if you choose to make this small adjustment in your perspective, to lift your eyes above the noise, you will experience more this Christmas. More joy, more peace, more of the good stuff. And just look, sidebar, as if that's not enough motivation, research also bears out that people who rejoice are more successful than people who constantly complain. So there's that. And Mary got this. She understood the benefits and the supernatural advantage of lifting her eyes above the noise and rejoicing. She continued with Mary's song, "For God took notice of his lowly servant girl, and from now on all generations will call me blessed." Now, 2,000 years later, Mary gets a lot of press for her great faith and her great obedience, and wow, what an honor to have been chosen at that point in history, and from anyone that God could have chosen to bear his son, he chose Mary. But that's not actually how Mary saw herself. She didn't see herself as this great hero, this great faith example. She literally saw herself and considered herself very humbly as a lowly servant girl. And I hope you're encouraged by this. If you've ever found yourself thinking that you're too unimpressive, insignificant, unimportant for God to take notice of you, take it from Mary's example. God notices you. If you and when you feel like you haven't done enough, God notices you. When you feel like you aren't enough, God notices you. When you've been overlooked by friends or colleagues, God notices you. When you've been putting in the extra and nobody's given you any thanks or encouragement, God notices you. Now, during the 2020 COVID lockdowns, there was a new Christian song that literally blew up worldwide across all countries, all languages, all demographics. It was called The Blessing, and it's actually based on a priestly blessing that we find recorded in the old part of the Bible in the book of Numbers, which goes like this: "The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace." This was to be spoken over the people of Israel, and God still speaks this over you today. And there's this great little picture there. The Lord make his face shine upon you. One of the easiest ways that I know to kind of get my head around this is to think about grandparents. Some of you know this. The thing that's unique about grandparents is it's all joy, no responsibility. And, when you take the kids to visit the grandparents, you kind of don't exist. Especially on arrival, they're like all about the grandkids. Their face lights up, their face shines towards the grandkids, shines with delight, shines with joy, shines with pride. The grandparents are genuinely thrilled that this child or these children are their grandchildren. Well, God does that for you and for me. His face shines upon us with joy and delight and pride. He is thrilled that you're his child. God took notice of a lowly servant girl named Mary. God takes notice of you. And right there, that's a reason to rejoice. But look, it's not the only reason. I mean, if you need more, just in that priestly blessing, there's actually a list of reasons to rejoice. That we're blessed, that we are kept, like protected, safe, God's refuge. His face is shining upon us. He's gracious, merciful to us, and he gives us his peace. That's a heck of a list. These are great reasons to rejoice. Let me just give us a throwback to the series we just closed out called Beyond Blessed, which adds to this list that we are loved, we are chosen, we are forgiven, we've been adopted, we are filled with purpose, we're heirs to a great inheritance, and we're empowered by God's mighty strength and power. And if we lift our eyes and look to all of these incredible things that God's already blessed us with and continues to bless us with, there will be reasons to rejoice during this Christmas season. So that means over the next few weeks, even if everything doesn't go to plan, you can rejoice. Even when that family member that you thankfully only have to see once or twice a year is causing your anxiety levels to rise again, you can rejoice. Look, here in Perth, even when it's 39 degrees Celsius and the power goes out in your neighborhood, like it did in our neighborhood last night, you can rejoice. You'll sweat, but you can rejoice because it's all about a perspective shift. It's about us lifting our eyes above the noise. And then Mary concludes her song, declaring, "For the mighty one is holy, and he's done great things for me. He shows mercy from generation to generation to all who fear him. His mighty arm has done tremendous things. He has exalted the humble, and he's filled the hungry with good things. So Mary lists off who God is and what God's done as reasons to rejoice. Who God is, he's holy. He's like above. He's better. He's holy. Like, wow. And he's mighty. Nothing is too hard for him. But like, she makes sure we understand and that she understands God's not just holy and mighty, because if he was, he might just zap us like a bug when we mess up, which we do. She says he's also merciful. And then she remembers, she recalls God's done great things, tremendous things. He's lifted up the humble. He's filled the hungry. And here's a clue. As part of this roadmap that Mary gives us is one of the ways we can be kind of pointed to what God can do in the future is to actually remember what he's done in the past, because the same God that's done great things in the past can and will do great things in the future. He's helped his servant Israel, Mary says, and remember to be merciful. He's made this promise to our ancestors. Remembering the same God that's done it in the past can do it again. He's provided for you in the past. He can provide for you again. He's comforted you in the past. He can comfort you again. He's given you strength in the past. He can give you strength again. He's given you hope in the past. He can give you hope again. And so we can live with great confidence that he's holy and he's mighty and he's merciful and he's done great things and he's going to do great things. And these are the things, if we choose to focus on them, to lift our eyes above the noise, we can experience more this Christmas. Now, can I invite you to scan this QR code? It will take you to the Bible app to a section called My Church, where you can make Elevate Church your church. And here's what we're going to do. Every week we publish a featured Bible reading plan that follows on from the message that we've preached. So this week we will publish a 5-day reading plan called Mary's Song. And I'm going to go through that over the 5-day period. And I invite you to join me, join our team. And this can be one very simple way that we can lift our eyes above the noise this Christmas.
And while we've got you guys, we would love to see your awesome faces on the 24th for Christmas Eve. It falls on the Tuesday. It's at our Elevate and our hub. So we'd love to see you then. But until then, guys, go ahead and have a blessed day, and we'll see you next time.